Let's talk about the effects of, like we said, the borderline personality disorders and all these mental aspects. Let's start with the borderline personality disorder and its effect and as it relates to relationship. What's your take on that, and how widespread is that? Because now I'm starting to hear that word like crazy as it relates to relationships. What's your take on that? And is there a way to fix the freaking marriage if that's in your marriage?
Yeah, so to answer that question first, there is a way to fix it. I mean, I've been treating borderline personality disorder, BPD, for over 20 years, and it's said that there's no cure for it, but I've seen people come as close to a cure as possible without calling it that technically. So it is possible. The trick is the awareness. And let me give a little bit of information about BPD for people who aren't necessarily familiar with that. So there are a number of different personality disorders. They fall into different. Borderline personality disorder is the kind of personality disorder that someone develops largely out of trauma, but there are some other reasons, genetics and brain chemistry and things like that that can drive it. Most people with BPD develop it as a function of trauma that they've been through, particularly when they were younger. And so what happens is with that trauma, especially sexual trauma is very detrimental, obviously. They become confused about where they end and the next person begins. So the issue becomes one of boundaries. And the primary coaching in therapy for BPD is around boundaries and understanding the differentiation between the people. So people with BPD are going to struggle with emotional lability, so controlling their emotions. They react to things versus respond. They struggle with mindfulness, which is one of the first things that we do in treating it. So they're very emotionally reactive. They're easily triggered. They're easily defensive because of what happened to them and the core beliefs that came out of that. So they struggle with emotional reactivity. They a lot of times struggle with abandonment issues, a strong fear of abandonment or rejection or neglect. They struggle with understanding that what we call emotional permanence. So, meaning that you can be in a relationship with someone, and just because they're not constantly feeding you some sort of validation or presence or whatever, it doesn't mean they don't love you. So that kind of links up with the abandonment stuff. But the main thing is emotional reactivity. Now, that's not like something big happens in your life and it's traumatic and you have a big reaction, right? Trauma's going to get a big reaction out of most of us. This is a consistent pattern of responding, reacting in a way that's detrimental to your emotional functioning and your relationships with other people.
You saying
That's the gist of it.
you saying that is treatable?
Highly treatable. Yeah, I do it every day.
Let's move.
Highly treatable.